Good evening. I had thought of doing this video yesterday, and I had spoken to someone about doing it, but then I couldn't find time. But today I want to give you my thoughts on the post by Joanna Kinuthia on Instagram on seeking the views of her audience on what makes people to click off videos. And hi, Kevin. And the reason I'm doing it is not to rant about the bad comments that were there, but to take lessons from there and to give you my thoughts, on the things that someone should do in order to keep an audience longer. Hi, Ruth. So, the first thing that I want to talk about is called audience retention. And that was what the post was actually all about. How do you keep an audience to watch your video for as long as possible? And how can you be able to keep your audience entertained enough or attentive enough so that they can be able to watch your video for as long as possible? Because when, as a creator, you make something, you do a video for 10 minutes, the idea is that your audience will watch your video for that 10 minutes. But the reality is that most people don't watch your video all the way to the end. And that's perfectly okay, because someone may find value already in the first 5 minutes and they are gone, or there may be other things that are happening there, and that will make your audience member to go away. And many people talked about the way if a video is long, if the topic is not what they clicked for, then they would go away. So this is what I want to say about audience retention and YouTube. YouTube will recommend your video more if your audience retention is 50% and above. And I'll explain that. If you have a 10-minute video and you have 100 people who watch that video, the aim is that at least 50 of them watch that video to the very end. And if you look at your analytics, you can be able to see a graph that goes from 100% to some percentage. The aim of every single video is to make sure that your retention is as high as possible. And that comes in with giving a good story. It comes in with adding B-roll. It comes in with adding graphics. It comes in with making your video as entertaining as possible. Even if you're doing an educational video, then it still needs to be engaging enough to make sure that your audience member actually watches it for as long as possible. So as a creator, one of the biggest things that you always need to look at is to look at your analytics, so that you can be able to actually see what makes my audience go away from my videos. So after you have published your video, 2-3 days later, a week later, 2 weeks later, you need to go back to your video and look at the audience retention graph. This graph helps you to actually know how many people stayed throughout the video. And when you look at your analytics for most of the videos, there is usually a sharp dip, and then it stabilizes, and then it goes down. And it will tell you a percentage of the viewers who, it will give you a percentage of audience retention. Ideally, your audience retention should be 50% and above. That's a really, really good video. If you can manage to do more than that, then you are actually doing well. So one tip on audience retention is to make your videos a little shorter. I know that as creators, we are chasing the monster of watch time. But again, you need to look at the fact that the attention of your audience is going to go down with time. For instance, if you do a video for half an hour or 1 hour, then you know clearly that sometimes it is not possible to have your audience watch your videos for that particular time. For instance, on my channel, I know the audience retention is about 3 minutes. And if I make a 3 minute video, for instance, then it would be in that perfect sweet spot, because the average duration that people spend on my videos is at 3 minutes. Now you need to look at your own videos and look at how long do people stay on your videos, and then start making content that is around that time. If you do that, then it helps you to be able to keep your audience for the time that they have actually told you that they are ready to stay on your videos. Okay? The next thing that you need to do is to build up your story. And especially if you're doing a vlog, one of the main things that you should always do, hi Muzna, one of the things that you should always do is to build your story on 3 acts. The first act is on the setup of your story. The second act is on the conflict of the story. And the third act is on resolution. So it could be that you were going to a particular place, you were going to hike. So the first act is actually the setup of you actually preparing yourself to go. And the second act would be actually being there and something interesting that happened. And then the third act would be the day is finally over, we are going back home. So that should be the structure of your video. If you place your structure like that, because that is the same structure that movies actually use. So if you think of your videos like the way you would think of a movie, then it actually makes sense for someone to be able to watch. I hope this makes life a little better. I'm seeing the lights are going a little. So if you structure your videos in that way, then you actually give yourself the opportunity to keep your audience a little longer on your videos. So the aim here is think seriously about the content that you're giving your audience, because the moment that you think seriously about the content, then you actually give more value. There is no reason why your video should be 20 minutes if 10 minutes does not add to the story. Look at your video, look at how that video actually is going to be to the viewer, and then think of what is inside here that doesn't really have to be here, and remove it. And you have to be really uh, objective. You need to be really objective about the way you structure your video, because we get really attached to a video. But if your audience does not like that type of content, if your audience keeps telling you, we don't like when you do this, we don't like when you do that, then you need to remember that as a creator, one of the main reasons why you are on the platform, yes, it's for you, but it's also for the audience that you have. If you have an audience, then give the audience what the audience wants, because then you can realistically be able to grow. I hope that helps on audience retention. The second thing I want to talk about is on a comment that was made on the fact that people don't like when a creator talks about A, talks about B, then the next time they talk about C and talks about D. And then someone came in and said, you know what, I am a human being. I have different interests. I don't just have one interest. And I'm here to tell you that is true. That is understandable. But then the thing that you need to know is the fact that if you have an audience, that audience most likely found you in a particular genre. For instance, if you do food reviews, like I have a friend of mine who does food reviews, then if I come to your channel because of a video that you did on food reviews, then in my mind, I expect that I will find more food reviews. So like we talked in the first point about audience retention, if I find that your videos and the way you do your food reviews is actually really interesting for me, then the most likely thing for me to do is to go back to your videos and search for another food review. Now, if I go on your channel and I find that there is a hair tutorial, there is a wig tutorial, there is a makeup tutorial, there are so many things about this, then I may not really understand what your channel is about. Now, don't get me wrong here, because there's some people who they will flourish very well. No, they will flourish very well doing so many things. It's possible. But the number of people who actually grow very quickly because of their personality are very few. And it's not upon me to look at myself and think I am going to be the special one to get people to like me for my personality. That is not realistic. It's not everyone who can be Mark Zuckerberg. It's not everyone who can be Casey Neistat to be liked for everything about my own life. No, you need to realistically look at yourself, put down the 4 or 5 things that you really want to talk about on your channel, and then look at what you are most well versed about. What's the biggest passion that you have? Because when you do that, you give yourself a more realistic chance to actually make it on the platform. If you take yourself like I did last year, and I did business ideas, I did a few vlogs, I did live videos, I did so many things. I even uploaded a few trailers of weddings that I did, but I saw that there were particular videos that were actually bringing subscribers to my channel, and that was the business videos, and that actually made me go specifically to start doing business ideas and actually help creators. I know my face looks funny, my nose looks funny, but that made me to actually go specifically to give viewers what viewers are coming in for. Because the next time that a viewer will see, or a subscriber will see, that I have posted a video about business, the most likely thing they will do is watch that video. But if today I decided that I want to talk about a certain hotel that I went to and I review that hotel, my audience didn't come for hotel reviews. There are so many hotel reviewers out there. Believe me, I can be able to do a good hotel review because maybe I have a good eye for details, or I'm a good cinematographer, but that's not what my audience is asking of me. My audience is asking for a particular thing. And if you do that, and the key to do this is to again go back to your analytics. On your analytics, you will be able to see subscribers gained, and it will tell you exactly which videos are actually bringing in the most people to your channel. Another tool that I really use to help me on this is called Morning Fame. It's in the description. It's an invite only, and if you go down there, you can be able to use it. And the way I use it is that every single week I get an update of how many subscribers have been brought in by particular videos, and I can be able to consciously do other videos on my channel that are related to that video that is bringing in subscribers. Because the way the YouTube algorithm for recommendation works is, if people liked a particular content, a particular type of content from your channel, if you release another video of that same topic, then the most likely thing that will happen is that your video will show up on their homepage. And once that happens, they look and they see, oh, this guy I just subscribed to last week or yesterday or whichever time has released a new video that talks about this other thing that I'm really passionate about. And then they click on your video and then they watch your video. If you want to grow as a creator, for most of us, for most of us, for the majority of creators on this platform, if you actually realistically want to grow on the platform, then the thing you have to do is let go of the 4, 5, 10 other things that you would have been doing and focus on one thing. Focus on it first so that you build your authority in that particular niche. And once you have grown, once you have gotten to a particular level where your audience is actually asking for the different kind of content, if they're asking, like, I know when you start growing, people start asking, so how do you make it on YouTube? Then you can do a video about how to make it on YouTube because your audience asked for it. Okay, so that kind of content, the first kind of content I was talking about, where you actually make videos that are specific to your niche, is called hub content. It's called hub content. Yes. Yeah, I think so. It's called hub content. Anyway, evergreen content, content that even if you watch tomorrow, even if you watch 2 months from now, will still be relevant to you. For instance, if you do a makeup tutorial on how to apply false lashes, that information to a particular person will still be relevant a month from now. Thank you, Ruth. It will still be relevant 2 months from now. And that kind of content will continuously be bringing people to your channel. And then the second type of content is community kind of content, where your audience asks, how do I do a particular thing? And then you tell them that this is how you do it. You do a particular video because your audience asked for it. That's community content. And that has happened on this channel. For instance, the video that I just released this month about how to start an MPESA business was a question that someone asked in one of my videos, in the content of one of my videos. And then I actually went and researched how to do it. And then I bring it on my channel. And then I actually had to go to that particular video where that comment was and tell that a video about it. So that's the way community content works. Your audience asks a question, you take time to prepare particular content, then you release it, and your audience actually loves it, because you can even do shout outs on your channel where you say that this particular content was requested by ABC and this is the content that I have prepared for you. The third kind of content that you can do on your channel is called hero content. This is where you can actually experiment on other things that you think your audience would like. It's not the normal kind of content that you would do, and you will probably see 1 or 2 videos like that on this channel probably next month, because I'm preparing the idea behind it, where you actually go into production and make like a movie, where you actually go and create something that your audience has never seen on your channel, just to experiment and see if your audience would like something like that. The reason you're doing this is because you're always trying to grow. And if you want to include new things on your channel, it is important to inform your audience in good time. Tell your audience, and while you're doing a normal thing that they would be expecting in that video, you tell them, you know what, I have been thinking of doing ABCD. And the reason you're doing this is because these people have actually invested in you because of the knowledge that you have in a particular thing. This is the same mistake that many people in the professional sector make when they think that they can make good politicians. So they think that just because they have grown in the corporate ladder, they can be able to take all that and take maybe the fame that they're getting, like musicians would want to get into politics. That is the same mistake you would be making if you are known in a particular niche, if you are an authority in a particular niche, and then you decide that you want to go to another one. People don't know you for those things. Okay, so the reason why you actually inform your audience and you tell them, by the way, I have been thinking of doing this, and then I will be releasing a video in a few days time, let me know what you think about it. So you're actually involving your audience in the thing that you're doing, in the thing that you're hoping to do. Tell them of the future plans that you have. That is the reason why at the beginning of the year, you usually would make a good point of actually telling your subscribers, I am thinking of doing A, B, C, D on my channel, so that when you actually start doing it, they are not shocked because you told them about it, because your audience feels that they own you. That's a reality. When someone is invested in you, when an audience member is invested in you, they start feeling like you are theirs. You belong to them. And that's something that you really need to look at when you're doing your videos. You need to remember that people are investing in you. They may be 100 now, they may be 50 now, but they are people who have actually consciously decided that they want your content. And if someone does that, then you need to respect their time. You need to respect the fact that they have decided they want to follow you. Number 3, long videos. Now, I am a proponent of make your videos as long as they need to be and as short as they can be. This looks like an oxymoron for some reason, but the reason I say this is I know traditionally on this channel that long videos don't do very well. I know as a fact that live videos may not do well, but the fact is that sometimes you know that if someone is coming on your channel, for instance, the videos that I do on YouTube training and the things that you need to do to grow on YouTube are extremely detailed. And when I do them, I know that the time on them is probably longer than 10 minutes. And unless you are a YouTuber, unless you are someone who actually wants that information, you will not watch that video to the end. And that's perfectly fine. You need to be ready to have some type of dip if you do very long videos. Now, I know there are exceptions to this because there are people who consistently do long videos, but then they don't do very many videos. I have an example of someone like Miss Kihoro, Patricia Kihoro, and someone like Joy Candy or Nancy Mwai. They would do a long video, but they don't do so many videos. So sometimes that kind of compensates, and then their story is actually good, so it would keep you for that particular time. But this is what I want to tell you about the length of a video. Ideally, and many people will tell you a video is supposed to be about 5 minutes, 7 minutes to be optimal. That, I think, is a normal attention span that someone would have. So if I do a video of 20 minutes, I need to actually realistically know that it is possible for my viewer to come to my video 5 times before they're able to actually go through the whole video. The other option I would have had is to actually split that video into 3 or 4 parts, but then it has its own drawbacks. So when you make a video a particular length, you need to make sure you are making it as punchy as possible. That before someone gets bored, there's something else that comes on. Before someone gets distracted by something, there's something else going on. Think of the way you would watch a movie or a series like Game of Thrones. There is one scene after the other. 10 seconds, there's another scene. There's a close-up. There's something else. There's something else. Every 10 seconds, they are keeping you engaged. And the reason they do that is because they know that in order to effectively keep the attention of someone for a long thing, then they need to change very many things. If you go to watch a movie in the cinema, you will feel there are so many different sounds coming at you every 15 seconds, every 10 seconds, there's this person talking, then they change the angle to this person talking, then you're looking at a different angle. Do similar things for your videos, because that way you can be able to keep your audience watching more and more and more. And don't be afraid of having fun in your videos, because the moment that you have a little fun in your videos, sometimes those bloopers, you can leave them in, they can keep your video going a little longer. The next thing I want to talk about, I think this is probably the third or the fourth. The next thing is on the titles and the thumbnails. Now, please, 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 make your title and thumbnail be a representation of what is actually in your video. YouTube actually frowns upon doing clickbait, both in titles and thumbnails. And if people report your video that it is a video that is clickbait, it could earn you a copyright strike. And that will mean that your channel could get blacklisted, it could get shut down. And you don't want to actually create a lot of good content on your channel and then let clickbait do you down. If you actually go ahead to make a good thumbnail that represents, that gives a teaser of what is inside the video that you're doing, then you will actually do better in the overall life of that given video. The next thing I want to talk about is on sponsored content. And this was hard hitting, especially on those creators who are already working with brands. And that is because if you're doing a particular video, it is important as a creator to make sure that you always make sure that the content that you give your audience is aligned to your brand, not the brand that is sponsoring you, to your brand. So you have already created a brand on your channel. It is important that whenever you are communicating to your audience, you find a way of making any endorsements be real. Don't pretend they are real. Don't fake that they are real. Don't say they are real when you know they are not. Always make sure that the endorsements that you give are things that you actually believe in. Give people as much information as possible so that they can be able to make informed decisions. You are a salesman for that particular brand. You are a representative of that particular brand. If you love it, say you love it. If you don't like a particular thing, even if they are paying you, make sure that you actually state, I like A, B, C, D. I do not like a particular thing. That makes your review be authentic. If you like everything, then say, you know what? This is a sponsored review. I like everything. Even if it was not sponsored, I would still stand by my word. The audience will actually respect you for informing them that this is a collaboration you are having with a brand. And because it is a collaboration, then they can be able to actually factor that into the decision that they're making. Because audiences tend to believe that if a particular thing is sponsored, then it will be biased. Of course, that is not exactly true, but it is something that the audience would think is true. So you need to put that into consideration. And do not be afraid of telling a brand no, just because of the money. Because if you work with every single brand, and you work with every single person who comes to you, number one, you do not create value for your audience. Because even if you are doing sponsored content, it is important sometimes to give them something that you used to give them before those brands came in. And a perfect example would be brands that actually just want to sponsor your videos just for the mention, and that's it. Tell people this is why I use this particular product, and you move on. And those kind of brands would actually help your channel to grow a little more, because they can actually decide to sponsor the next 10 videos and they're paying a particular amount. Just say this video is sponsored by this particular, and you can talk about anything that you want. Those kind of brands would be a little better to get in touch with, because they help you to just run your channel. I know as your channel continues to grow, the resources that you're putting in per video, the amount of work that goes in per video actually may be going up. So you may be having even a team that you're working with. So it is perfectly okay to work with brands. But always remember, when you're working with a brand, to always remain authentic. Authenticity is a secret to YouTube. If you do not do things that are authentic on this platform, believe me, you will not stay for long, because your viewers, your audience will call you out. And when they do that, you start having those moments of some guys that I saw on social media. This is the next thing: audience targeting. Now, I saw a few comments of people who were saying, you know what, I don't like the content of this particular person because they're like this, they're like this. And the thing that you need to remember as a creator is that you're not for everyone. And that goes back to the first point where I was talking about audience retention. As a creator, sit down and actually dream of who would be my ideal audience. My ideal audience would be this kind of a person. How old are they? Where do they live? What are their hobbies? What are they looking for in life? What are the solutions they're looking for? And then once you have found your ideal audience, then you start to make content for that ideal audience, because that's the kind of person you want to attract. And once you do it consciously from the beginning and you say, this is the kind of content I want to create, and the reason I want to create it is I'm creating it for a particular person. And most of the time you find you are creating content that you would love to watch. So you're looking for people who are like you. You are looking for weird people that are like you. You're looking for people whose interests are similar to your interests. So start creating content around the things that you love to do. That way, the people that you bring into your channel, the people who are attracted to your channel, will have similarities to you, will be able to understand that this person actually loves the same thing that I do, and they will resonate a bit easier whenever they find that the content that you're giving is content that resonates with them. So don't try to resonate with everyone, with women above 50, with men in under 35, with children that are under 17. Don't try to be a people pleaser. Don't try to please everyone. Be authentic to yourself. Give content that would help your core audience, and you will grow like that. Of course, there are people who will come to your comments and tell you of how your content doesn't help them, but they still watched. That's what I always say. They still watched. The trolls will always be there. Haters will also start showing up the moment that you start to grow. But as a creator, remind yourself that you're in this, number one, for yourself, and number two, for the audience that you chose. If someone doesn't like your content, if someone is critiquing your work, then that actually makes sense, because they're trying to tell you, improve on this, would have loved to have this, would have loved to have this. When you did this video, I would have loved that this would have happened. That is actually good criticism that actually helps you to grow yourself. But if someone is just giving comments just for the sake of giving comments, then there is a button called block. there's a button called a report. Report that person. Ban that person from your channel. Don't allow negative energy around your space. It's your space. And remember, and this is the last thing that I want to talk about, remember that being a creative is actually putting your soul out there in the world. You are actually bearing your soul out in the world. You have actually taken time to create something. You have loved this thing. You have birthed this thing. This is like your baby. This is an upload that you're doing. And then when you have actually done it, you have put your baby like the way they lifted Lion King in the movie, and the song is actually singing there and everyone is actually looking. But remember, there will be some people that are like Scarface who just hate you for no reason. They hate you just because of where some people will hate you just because of the way you talk. Some people don't like the accent that you have. Some people don't like your face. Some people don't like how big or how small you are. Some people don't like how excited you are. Others don't like how soft your voice is. People will find something to hate if they want to hate on you. And remember this, you see, even if you go on the roadside and you have a policeman and they want to find a mistake on your vehicle, if they want to find a mistake, they will find a mistake. That's the same thing with people. If they want to find fault with you, if they want to find fault in the creation that you have actually given to them, they will find fault. So just know it is a part of life. There are people who don't love themselves enough, and so they go around spreading their negativity. There are people who, if they came on your channel and they see you are actually doing something good, they'll be like, we don't like that particular thing that you're doing. Know that those people exist. But remind yourself of those days when you used to have 0 subscribers and you would put out a video and you would hope that someone would comment, and whatever they would comment, you would feel good. Remind yourself of those things. And even if you find one bad comment, don't focus on that one bad comment, because there are like 10, 15, 20, 30, there are like 100 other positive comments. Why would you allow someone to take over your space and decide how you're going to feel? As a creator, that doesn't work. So if someone is critiquing you to make you better, well and good. But if someone is just criticizing you for the sake of just doing it, for the sake of making you feel down, leave them alone. Just let them comment, delete their comment, block them from your channel, and grow yourself. After all, someone said, and I would love to quote this, and I asked to quote this, you don't owe anyone an upload. But at the same time, if you tell us that you are going to upload on a particular day, please keep your promise, not to self. So I hope this has given you some of the thoughts that I had on that particular post. If you have any other comments that you'd like for us to talk about, place them in the comments below. And as always, wait, I had forgotten. This is something that I would have loved to actually introduce on a video that I'll probably release tomorrow. But this is what I wanted to say. I am changing a few of the things on the channel, and you will see probably tomorrow or the next day. This channel and you guys are innovators. And this is a reason why I chose this name, and I feel that this name actually represents you a lot, because some of you are YouTube creators and you are actually innovating, and some of you are business people wanting to start businesses or already having businesses. So you have innovation in you. You are an innovator. And as fellow innovators, this is what we do. We innovate, we create, we grow. And you will start seeing it, and it's probably even in the description of this particular video. There are 3 words: innovate, create, grow. Because you innovate, you always do something that other people are not doing. Most people are looking for jobs. You are actually creating jobs. You are actually doing something to create jobs for people who are looking for jobs. And you create because you create opportunities for other people, you create opportunities for yourself, you are creating a life for yourself. And the reason why you are a creator and the reason why you are a you're a YouTuber, or the reason why you are a business person is because you want to create a life for yourself and you want to create a life for your family. And the third thing is growth. Every single innovator starts from one point and they will always grow to a particular point. Every day, as a creator, as an innovator, you as an innovator, myself as an innovator, every day I'm always looking to grow. That is the bedrock of innovation. That every single day we look at things that we are doing, we look at how to improve them, and we grow from there. So, as I finish this, I tell you, innovators, welcome to the boardroom. And remember to innovate, to create, and to grow. Have a good night.